game is lame and absurd, but you spit. You need to sit back and observe a certified pimp. So fly. Oh yes he is. I mean that boy, that's the shit. He's a mess he is. Fresh to death. Ain't nobody fresh as he is. They can't compare or get next to him because he's so fly. I mean the boy's so clean. From his white tee hold down to those jeans. You see the ice in the pink.
What is good, everybody? It's your man's Ken Jackson. This is the Ken Jackson Experience. A little bit late tonight. Got tied up. I was babysitting my grandkids tonight, so my daughter got off a little bit late. And, so hey, I'm here late. All right, so I'm going to get right into it tonight. DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. And basically what DEI is, it's a framework, or I'm going to give you the official definition. It's a framework used by organizations to promote the fair treatment and full participation of people from a wide range of backgrounds. DEI initiatives and policies aim to create environments where every individual feels valued, supported, and has an equal opportunity to succeed. Now, for some reason or another, the MAGA rights, Charlie Kirk, and the likes of him seem like DEI, or feel as though DEI was an attack on white people, particularly white males. But no, it wasn't. Let me explain to you idiots out there what DEI's purposes were. Because before diversity, equity, and inclusion programs were put in place, people who looked like me, who had the same exact qualifications or even higher qualifications as said white male, would be passed over for the job simply because I was black. And it wasn't publicly stated that, no, we passed you over because you were black, or you didn't get the position because you were black. It was just that unwritten litmus test that, hey, we see that this applicant's a black man. We're not even going to consider him for the position. Didn't matter whether or not I'm qualified or not. And in most cases, the black man or woman was exceedingly qualified to hold the position. But because they were black or Latino, they were passed over. It didn't have to be written down. It didn't have to be spoken. It was just known that, hey, this person didn't get the job because he was black or Latino. And when you would break down the resumes of these people, and you would find that the white man or even white woman who was given the job didn't even have half the qualifications as the minority who was passed over. So when idiots like Charlie Kirk would say, hey, when I got onto a plane and I saw that there was a black pilot, and I had to wonder if he got his job just because of DEI, what you should have been thinking is, damn, I'm glad for DEI, because this insanely qualified person probably wouldn't have got the position as pilot of this plane. They may have given it to a white man who had no qualifications at all, but got the job because he was white. See, this is the part of systemic racism that either a lot of you don't understand or you don't want to admit to. But the fact remains is systemic racism uh, is strong in this country. Uh, and the ways that they were able to get around blatant racism was uh, by revamping the system in order to keep people who looked like me or black or brown folks from getting certain positions or being recognized for certain achievements uh, just because they were black, whether they were qualified or not. If they weren't qualified, definitely, I'm all for somebody not getting a job because they're not qualified. But I can personally tell you uh, of hundreds of positions over the years that I've seen people overlooked for because they were black when they were clearly more qualified than the white person that was given the position. I can speak about it personally, say like in my father's uh, uh, experiences as a uh, plumbing and maintenance worker here in the St. Lucie County School Board back in the 80s um, when my dad retired and sold his plumbing business up in central Jersey and he relocated here to Florida and he took on a position with the school board here in St. Lucie County. And when he came here, he was light years more qualified than the plumbers and heating techs that were even already here, that had been here working for the school board for many years. My father was the only certified gas technician in the county at the time. The only one. But when positions for job foreman, came up, he was overlooked. Clearly because he was a black man, because the five white guys that were promoted to management positions and foreman positions didn't even have a quarter of the certifications that my father had. My father was a master plumber in one of the most successful black owned plumbing and heating contractors in central Jersey throughout the 70s and 80s when I was growing up. A master plumber, a master gas technician. And he came here to St. Lucie County, and these Peckerwoods down here overlooked him for all types of positions just because he was black. Had DEI been instituted back then, my father would have gotten the positions that he not only deserved, but was uh, supremely qualified for. So listen when I tell you this, for all of you MAGAs and conservatives out there that are feeling as though a black man took your job just because he was black. No, he got your job because he was more qualified than you. And DEI made it possible for him to get that job instead of being looked over because he was black or Latino. Y'all really need to knock off the racist bullshit because listen, we're not going for that shit anymore. We're not standing by and just taking it. And people like Donald Trump, who is a champion of white supremacy in America, is doing everything he can to keep uh, black and brown persons down. Uh, you notice he has none in his cabinet. Zero. Zero. Oh no, I lie. He has one. One. The HUD secretary. Secretary of Housing and Urban Development. And why did a black man get that job? Because in Donald Trump's mind, white people aren't associated with housing or urban development. That's something that people like Donald Trump distinctly and uniquely associate with black folks and Latinos, as if white people don't live in the hood, as if white people don't live in poor communities, as if white people uh, don't live in urban communities. It is painfully sad that we're still dealing with this in the 21st century. I'm a child of the civil rights era. I was born in 1965. The civil rights movement was getting underway. Um, it was in its infancy, really. Uh, Martin Luther King had already been assassinated. Um, and Black America was in turmoil. Black America was fighting for their rights, for their human rights, for the right to be considered humans, to right to be considered people on the same playing field with white people in America. This is what I was born into. I was born into a country that did not like me or people that looked like me. And it wasn't that many years prior to my birth that people who looked like me were still in chains, were still in bondage. Y'all got to keep in mind, uh, slavery slavery itself ended about 100 years before I was born. Slavery ended about 160 plus years ago. It's not too long ago. This country still hasn't paid the price for slavery. American slavery was brutal, it was inhumane, and there's probably going to be 200 to 300 years of trauma that black Americans are going to have to deal with because of slavery in America, the Jim Crow era, systemic racism, which is still uh, abundantly healthy in America, even though many don't want to admit it. They want to whitewash America's image and history as if it never happened. But it was real, y'all. It really happened. So let's get into DEI, diversity. Diversity involves representing people from different identities and backgrounds, such as race, ethnicity, gender, age, religion, disability, sexual orientation, and socioeconomic status. It's diversity that makes this country strong. It's diversity that will take this country into the future and help us to uh, return to a leadership position, because quite honestly, the Trump years have destroyed our leadership role in the world. The rest of the world is laughing at us right now. They're wondering, how could we be so stupid to elect a 34-time convicted criminal to the highest office in the land, to arguably the most powerful position on the planet. We gave it to a criminal. We gave it to a convicted criminal who, as yet, has never served a single day in prison. A criminal who claims that he wants to make America great again. When was America ever great? Please tell me. Tell me what year that was that America was actually great. And don't get me wrong, I love America. This is my country. I was born and raised here. And in spite of all of the great things that America has done and accomplished over the years, we have not achieved greatness yet. Although we were on our way towards greatness, we were. In fact, we were making a great effort toward achieving greatness. But Donald Trump and the MAGA movement has set us back at least 50 years, maybe more. Maybe more. But it was our diversity that got us here. It's our diversity that enabled us to become, at one point, the last world superpower. We're no longer that anymore. We are no longer the superpower that influences the world. American influence is waning, and it's waning fast. A lot of our allies have lost confidence in us because we obviously have some poor decision-making ability. When we decided to put Donald Trump in the White House, the rest of the world was just thrown completely off. What the fuck are those crazy Americans up to now? I thought I'd never see it, but we are fully a fascist state now, and moving fast to full scale dictatorship. All right. So anyway, equity. Equity recognizes that different individuals have different needs and that historical inequalities exist. It focuses on distributing resources and opportunities fairly to dismantle barriers and ensure that identity does not determine outcomes. This country has not been equal at all. We were working towards full equality. But as I said before, systemic racism is alive and well in this country. And now it's just gone back to full-blown open racism with Donald Trump and MAGA, running our government. We are basically back into the Jim Crow era. Maybe that's what Donald Trump meant when he said "Make America Great Again." Actually, though, I think he wants to take us back a little bit further. Probably not quite the slavery, but definitely at a time before Jim Crow. But like I said, when were we ever great? Be honest. Be honest. Equity is something that is desperately needed in this country. Black Americans who are descendants of the American slave trade are owed reparations. I believe that 100%. And I'm not saying that because I want to check, or I want a handout. I don't want a handout. I just want what's owed to my family. My family are descendants of the American slave trade. We've traced our family back, at least one half of our family, we've traced back to a plantation in Augusta, Georgia. The other half of my family can be traced back to Seminole Indian Reservation here in South Florida. So not only was my family direct descendants of the American slave trade, but the other half of my family are Native Americans, natives to this land, whose land was stolen. So what does that say? Is my family entitled to a double payback for the half that was enslaved and the other half that was just literally uh, um, stolen from? Hey, I'm just saying, I'm asking. But definitely, for all the companies today that exist, all of the Fortune 500 companies that are uh, directly uh, that are also direct descendant of companies that made their wealth off of the American slave trade, these companies should be forced to send a portion of their profits into some sort of fund to be distributed uh, to the descendants of the American slave trade, to the Black Americans who are descendants of slaves here in America. And mark what I said, only the companies whose success and wealth reaches back to a direct result of the American slave trade. And there are a lot of them on the Fortune 500 list, multi-billion-dollar companies um, that became multi-billion-dollar companies because of American slavery. They should be paying the reparations uh, to Black Americans. I know a lot of you out there will disagree, and that's fine. You have a right to disagree. See, that's part of what will make us great one day is the fact that we all have the right to our thoughts and desires and opinions, but we don't have the right to forcefully uh, impose our opinions on others or impose our beliefs on others. We don't have the right to murder somebody because we don't like what they say or like what they stand for. Charlie Kirk was no hero of mine at all. But I guarantee I could have stood in the room with him and I could have debated with him and I could have spoken with him, you know, and shown him respect as a man, regardless of how I felt or how I feel about his beliefs. Because if I had to base it on just his beliefs, he's an asswipe. He was an asswipe. Now, I didn't give two fucks about him. I'm definitely not going to miss him. I'm not going to mourn him. And I'm not going to have any empathy for him. And keeping up with the words out of his own mouth. This is this is the part I don't understand about Trump and MAGA losing their fucking minds now, because the liberal left won't properly mourn Charlie Kirk. Why should they? Why should anybody? Charlie Kirk said it himself. Empathy is a waste of time, basically. Not those exact words, but he didn't believe in empathy. He didn't believe in showing any compassion for anybody that wasn't within his circle of admiration. Charlie Kirk himself said that the uh, civil rights legislation was a mistake and should be repealed. He wanted civil rights gone. He didn't think blacks should have civil rights in America. He said that. And knock it off with the bullshit about, oh, you're taking his words out of context. There was no context. He said what he said, and he meant what he said. There was no context to be taken. That's what the fucking man said. But I guess it was all good until it happened to him in regards to gun violence. He said America is going to have to be okay with a few gun deaths in order to preserve our Second Amendment rights. Until it happened to him. Now MAGA wants to go crazy. Oh my God, left wing lunatic and radicals orchestrated a hit on Charlie Kirk. No, they didn't. Nobody. If anybody orchestrated it, it was somebody on the right side in order to create this false narrative that the left is out to kill y'all. Today was his memorial service. I didn't watch a single second of it, but I noticed it was on a lot of major networks. Why? This Charlie Kirk was nobody. He was a social media nutcase who believed in hatred and oppression. He was a misogynistic racist. Yeah, I said it. And if you don't like it, you don't like it. You have a right not to like what I said. You have the absolute right not to like what I said about Charlie Kirk. You have the right to be upset for whatever the fuck you want to be upset for, just like I do. I have the right to feel the way I feel and say what the fuck I want to say. That's what free speech is all about. Charlie Kirk himself, his whole organization is all about free speech. They didn't believe in hate speech. They didn't believe hate speech existed. But now you motherfuckers want to make it hate speech when we say anything about him or his movement and why we didn't fuck with him. It's crazy. It's crazy how hypocritical you motherfucking maggots are. Maggots. MAGA, maggots, whatever the fuck you call yourselves. As a friend of mine said just the other day, shit ain't so funny when the rabbit got the gun. All right. So, inclusion. What's inclusion all about? Inclusion is the practice of ensuring that all individuals, particularly those from marginalized communities, can fully participate and contribute. It focuses on creating a sense of belonging where people feel respected and can be their authentic selves. People want to be included. People want to be able to be who they are freely without somebody trying to force them to be something that they're not. You wanted us to let Charlie Kirk be who the hell he was, then guess what? Let me be who the hell I am. Fuck Charlie Kirk. He wasn't my friend. I don't like none of the shit he talked about. And there's nothing you can say or do that's going to make me feel otherwise. But guess what? I'm free to feel that way. and you're free to disagree with me. But that doesn't give me or you the right to bring harm to anyone just because we don't like it. But I will tell you this: you got to bring ass to get ass. I saw a post just a little while ago, someone on the right saying, "Hey, you Democrats don't understand that they would lose in a civil war against us Republicans." Motherfucker, first of all, ain't nobody thinking about a civil war. And if I remember correctly, the South lost the motherfucking war. The Confederacy lost. They got their asses kicked. Y'all want to go for round two? I don't know why you seem to think the Democrats and independents don't have fucking guns too. I don't know why you think that Democrats and independents don't know how to use those guns. Just because y'all get out there publicly flaunting, you know, you're practicing your range videos and all that shit, you should be worried about what you don't see. You should be worried that you don't see a lot of Democrats out there flexing, at the gun range, and on YouTube and other platforms talking about all the weapons that they have at home. I love it when I see someone on the right, showing their arsenal. Yeah, cool. Let me know exactly what the fuck you got. So when we come to get your ass, we know in advance what we're up against. But quite honestly, we ain't thinking about you. We ain't worried about you. Don't get it twisted. Republicans aren't the only ones who have the right to bear arms. And Republicans and MAGA aren't the only ones who know how to use those said arms. So don't get yourself out there and get fucked up thinking that if you get into a fight with Democrats, that it's just going to be a pushover. It's going to be an easy day. The only easy day was yesterday. Keep that in mind. All right, so diversity, equity, inclusion. It wasn't designed to hold down white men. It wasn't designed to boost up Black and Latinos who didn't have the qualifications. It was designed to put us on equal playing field so that we couldn't get passed over when having the said same qualifications or more. Because in most cases, a lot of us were far more qualified than the white man or white woman that got the job. And that's what DEI was instituted to stop. So let's talk about the goals and the importance of DEI. DEI initiatives are implemented in workplaces, schools, and other settings to achieve several objectives. Uh, One, to foster a positive culture by providing exposure to diverse perspectives, which can improve employee morale and help foster a more ethical, comfortable, and supportive environment. DEI also um, promotes drive, innovation, and performance. Diverse perspectives can lead to a more creative problem solving, and better decision making. DEI also strengthens business results. Companies with more diverse leadership teams have been found to outperform their peers in profitability. Hey, having a few black and Latinos on the team will make you a little bit more money, cuz think about it. Um, and it will enhance legal compliance. Adopting DEI practices helps organizations comply with federal and state laws regarding discrimination in hiring and employment. But there are challenges. While many see DEI as a positive force, it also faces challenges and significant pushback. Critics raise concerns about effectiveness and implementation. Blah. Some question the methods used in DEI programs, including the focus on group identity rather than individual merit. It's not true. DEI primarily focuses on individual merit. However, systemic racism kicks that individual merit aside and says, hey, we're going to give it to this white man that's not qualified, who hasn't achieved a goddamn thing. He's just a white guy. Understand that. Perceived discrimination, which is what I just got done talking about. Critics have argued that some DEI policies, particularly when they involve hiring quotas, may discriminate against employees or applicants based on race or other characteristics. Not true. DEI makes it so that a company must hire a certain number of blacks and Latinos if they are qualified for the position, not just because they're black and Latinos, but if they are qualified for the position, because if DEI was not instituted, they would be overlooked and you would have a company full of just white men. Plain and simple. Truth is truth. I know it hurts to hear it, but that's the truth, and you fucking know it. Also, DEI has a lot of political opposition. Some political leaders have sought to dismantle or ban DEI initiatives, which Donald Trump already has done. He's completely disbanded DEI initiatives, at least on a federal level, and he's threatened private companies as well, threatened them by pulling government contracts and things of that nature unless they followed his non-DEI agenda. So we're dealing with a lot right now with Donald Trump and MAGA, and the whole Trump crime organization. Is it going to work itself out? I doubt it. Democratic Party has no legislative power right now whatsoever, and doesn't look like they're going to have any in the near future. I have no confidence in the midterm elections personally. Not because I don't feel like the Democrats have learned some hard lessons. I just feel like the fix is in already. Donald Trump, with his forced gerrymandering, and threats against, certain departments and divisions, has basically fixed the midterm elections to where Republicans and MAGA is probably going to hold on to every seat, and they might even gain a few. The fix is in. Donald Trump is working to steal the election. He stole the last election. That's how he got reelected. Let's be honest, y'all. He stole it. The one he always talks about back in 2020 was rigged. It was rigged tremendously, but the problem was he lost. He didn't rig it right, and he lost. So trust when I tell you, Donald Trump's not lying about the 2020 election in terms of it being rigged. What he's lying about is who was rigging it or who rigged it. He rigged it, but he lost. He didn't make that mistake this time around. As they say, third time's a charm, you know? And now he's working on trying to get it to where he can actually run for a third term. If Congress makes a change to the Constitution so that Donald Trump can run again, it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a real problem. You watch and see. You watch and see. It's going to be a real problem. Don't do it, Congress. Don't go fucking around with our Constitution. I know y'all want to because y'all want to stay in power so freaking bad. Power has absolutely corrupted the Republican Congress. Absolutely. This is what we're facing. And this is why I believe that in 2028, only the military is going to be able to get Donald Trump out of office, or whoever he designates. I think it's going to take a military solution. Because we may not even have a 2028 election if Donald Trump has his way. So y'all better pay attention. Y'all better seriously pay attention. All right. So anyway, that was it. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. It wasn't a plot designed against white men, y'all. It was designed to give people who look like me a fair shot at getting a job because I hold the same qualifications, if not more, than that white guy that actually got the job. All right, I'm your man's Ken Jackson. This has been the Ken Jackson Experience. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. I don't have merchandise to sell you. I'm not trying to track your emails or anything like that. Just need a little help with the algorithm. Oh, hit me up on TikTok as well. Even though I think TikTok's about to be fucked up. I think Donald Trump is definitely thrown a monkey wrench in the TikTok algorithm and plan. And I was just starting to like TikTok because I get a lot of traction on TikTok. And I think all that's about to change. But listen, y'all, hashtag resist, hashtag free speech, and hashtag Kirk out. I'll catch y'all next time. Peace. This has been the Ken Jackson Experience.